So if you're looking for a cell phone tracker, and not just for GPS or location tracking, but tracking all kinds of activities like phone calls, messages, social media, and so on, mSpy is a great software to try both for, Android and iOS, including iPads and iPhones. And so if you were using their service, this is what the dashboard would look like of the phone that you want to keep track of. In addition to getting the regular phone info, you'll be able to see the kind of activity the phone's up to. For example, you'll be able to see what are the most visited websites on the phone. You'll be able to see which contacts are being messaged the most and which contacts are being called the most. The app will also keep a good track of the locations the device has been at. So you'll know the movement of the phone, and then that way you'll know the movement of whoever it is you want to keep track of. And that's just the surface of what you can do with mSpy. I mean, you could go ahead and see all the list of contacts on the phone. You'll be able to see all text messages that the phone is receiving. You'll be able to see all the calls that are being made along with the phone numbers and timestamps. You'll be able to see all the calendar events that are scheduled on the phone. You'll also be able to access the photos and videos that are being stored on the phone as and when they're being taken. And you can also keep a track of the Wi-Fi networks that the phone has been connecting to, and that way that tells you where they've been. And here is where it gets really powerful. You can go, really deep, and you can get notified if a certain keyword is being received or entered in any of the apps that the mSpy app has access to, and then you get notified on email. I think that's really helpful. Now you can also look at all the apps that are being installed or are installed on the phone, and if you wish to, you could also block it from here remotely, which I think is again very powerful. Now, of course, one of the key attributes is GPS locations, wherein you're able to keep track of where the phone has been and at what time. And I think that's pretty much, being able to track the phone down and knowing where the concerned person is very important. But there's also geofencing. That is, you can set up an unlimited number of safe and forbidden zones, and you can monitor when and how each zone is visited. And you can get an email notification about each zone, once your child or whoever it is you're keeping track of, when they enter and exit. Again, very powerful. Now, in social networks, you can see messages, people being contacted, and calls being made across all of these social networks, but this only works if the device is rooted. And if you don't want to root the device, you can still access the screen recorder through the admin panel, and then over there you'll be able to see screenshots that the mSpy software takes at regular intervals, and that way you can see what's happening whenever your child is opening a social networking app like Facebook, Instagram, or anything else. So you can obviously configure which ones can send a screenshot and which you don't want. So all of that's possible. You can see browser history, you can see any bookmarks that are stored on the browser, and you can also look at incoming emails. Now, there are a couple of features that you can also access if you go under device management. Of course, you can see all the information on the phone, along with the fact whether it's rooted or not rooted. And if you go down, you'll be able to see and set how often do you want the updates to take place. All these things in the admin panel, they get updated every 30 minutes by default, but you can reduce or increase that interval. How quickly should the location be updated? Every 5 minutes? Maybe every 15 minutes, up to you. And you can set the units yourself. Also, should the mSpy only work when it's connected to Wi-Fi and then send updates, or do you want it to use the regular 4G or 5G data? Well, you can set up all of that here. Now let's assume that you want to get the service. Setting up is a bit of a process, but it's really simple if you follow it. Just select whether your phone, the target phone that you want to keep track of, is Android or iOS, give it a name, and then you can set the age if at all you really want to, and then say proceed. And then it'll ask you, hey, which device is it? Whether it's Samsung or whatever it is, you can just say, let's say in my case it was Samsung, and there we go. And then you click on proceed. Now do keep in mind the registration code is important. You'll have to key that in after a couple of steps. But the first thing you need to do is go into Play Store and disable Scan Device for security threats. The thing is, this app is not available on the Play Store because it does need permissions that otherwise Google Play Store policies will not allow for. It's just a little intrusive, as you can see. Once you've disabled that, you'll have to go and download mSpy, and there's a link, again, just put that into your browser and it'll start downloading the external installer. And once you have that, it's an APK file. Just say OK and then go ahead with the installation. Once it's all done, you'll be able to then proceed with giving permissions to mSpy. The mSpy software needs those permissions to be able to transmit data from your target phone or your kid's phone to that admin dashboard that I just showed you. Without these permissions, it cannot do that. So once you've given all of these permissions, it's pretty much set. Then you just have to put in that registration code. And once that registration code is validated, your installation is complete, and that's it. And now that I've shown you all the features, before you actually go ahead and purchase a longer subscription, feel free to try this first. See if it works for you. See if it's giving you the kind of information that you need, and it's doing so consistently so you can keep better track of a phone or your loved one, right? And just one point to note, that because the kind of information and the breadth of information it provides to you about your child's phone or your target phone is so rich and so comprehensive, it cannot exist on the Google Play Store because the Play Store guidelines and policies would not let an app like that exist. So the only way to do that or to get the app is after you purchase the subscription from their website. That's when they give you a download link to get the software on your phone. And before I end the video, there's one thing that I do want to address, concerns around data protection, security, privacy. All of these are concerns that you may have. And again, different countries have different laws around it, and different people have different tolerances towards these things. So a lot of that information is available on their website. So before you make a purchase, go through that and see if you're okay with it. And if you are, well, there's a trial that you can take on. And if it works for you, you can commit to a longer subscription. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If there's any question you may have, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And as always, if you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.